the Tristan Law Show. If it's your first time here, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. I'm Tristan Law, some retired pro wrestler, and today, I'm your host. Look, WWE is on Netflix. AEW is running Residencies, and TNA and WWE are working together. And if that's not big enough for you, big media is finally taking pro wrestling seriously again. The current state of pro wrestling. That is what I'm talking about today, and it just feels different. If it's your first time here, whether you're watching live or on demand, respond in the chat. Talk to me in the chat. I read everything. There's not one message that goes unread here. But look, Slammiversary just finished. TNA just had one of the biggest weekends in recent memory. You know what? Bravo to them. Bro, you know what? I was trying to hold off, but let's give them a hand clap, right? They had one of the biggest weekends for them in such a long time. Although everybody from the WWE won most of their big, championships, I see that Bound for Glory has a lot of meat on the bone. It has a lot of potential, and it's all because of the partnership with WWE and TNA. Whoever thought that WWE would ever work with anybody else? SummerSlam is now going to be 2 nights. 2 nights. You get to go to bed on Saturday, knowing that SummerSlam night 1 finished. You're going to wake up on Sunday morning and go watch SummerSlam again. SummerSlam is going to be 2 nights in a football stadium in New Jersey, and I will be there with one of my really good friends. It's only 11 days away. Pro wrestling, it's not fringe anymore. Pro wrestling is not something that we're just hiding away and is hoping that, that nobody knows that I'm a pro wrestling fan because I'm embarrassed to be a pro wrestling fan. You know what, damn it? I am not embarrassed to be a pro wrestling fan, and I've never been embarrassed to be a pro wrestling fan.
Yeah!
Do you think the mainstream is taking pro wrestling more seriously? Let me know in the comments, whether you're watching live or on demand. The last thing that made me go, whoa, pro wrestling is becoming bigger than pro wrestling. It's not like when Hogan was around, he was like the biggest person in pro wrestling. He felt bigger than pro wrestling. When John Cena and The Rock, more so The Rock, when The Rock went to Hollywood, The Rock felt bigger than pro wrestling. But right now, I feel that all the superstars in AEW, TNA, WWE, NWA, they feel just as big as the wrestling business. You got Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes is going to be in a movie. Well, he is in a movie. I think the movie drops this weekend. And then you got half of the wrestling world. They're in the Street Fighter movie that's coming. I can't wait for the Street Fighter movie to come out, because the one that they came out with when I was a kid, that was straight up trash. Straight up trash. This is bigger than what you think. If you are not a wrestling fan right now, or you know somebody that's not a wrestling fan, slap them. Don't slap them. Slap them and tell them, come join this, because we're having such a good time right now. Such a good time in the pro wrestling business right now. But WWE, they've got a brand new game plan. Brand new. And I think that it's built around streaming. Raw. And, well, in America, right, we have to talk about what we get in America. In America, we only get Netflix. I mean, we only get Raw on Netflix, and maybe whatever they feel like throwing us scrap-wise. The rest of the world, they're getting the whole WWE library and network on Netflix. That's just what I heard. They get all the PLE, SmackDown, everything on Netflix. What we get, we got Peacock. Yeah, all right. Peacock, I think that Peacock is probably one of the greatest streaming services that we ever had before.
Thank you!
That was a big lie. WWE Vault. WWE Vault is the closest that we are getting to the WWE network. If you're not following them, you know what? It should be required reading. No, not required reading. Required following. If you are subscribed to the Tristan Law Show, you should be subscribed to WWE Vault. And if you're subscribed to WWE Vault, you should be subscribed to the Tristan Law Show. Hell yeah. Because WWE is filling the void that the WWE network has being gone away has created on WWE Vault. Streaming is everything. You could turn on WWE Vault at 2 o'clock in the morning Eastern time and go, oh, They're playing SummerSlam from 1996. You know what? You may not be interested fully in, or you may not know what happens at SummerSlam 1996, but you know what? Just put it on. It's fodder for the background. Nothing's really happening at 2 o'clock in the morning. You should be minding your business and in bed, okay? But if you're not, the WWE Vault is that. But then next week, WWE is releasing a brand new show. It's called WWE Unreal, and it's a reality show. It's reality. And I'm using quotations, right? I'm not just doing this because I'm stretching out my fingers. Actually, yeah, I am stretching out my fingers. But WWE is pulling back the curtain and letting us know pretty much how they pulled a rabbit out of the hat. Listen to me when I tell you this. On Raw last night, they played a little clip of, you know, Triple H sending out iShow Speed and stuff like that was a, you know, a spur of the moment thing. It's one of those things that if you don't know, you don't know. One of the things they teach us in the pro wrestling business is that everything is a work, meaning that it's a part of the show. And even when they tell us that it's a shoot, that it's not a part of the show, to me, to us, it's still a work. It's still a work. They're going to be presenting to you a shoot. I mean, a shoot, but it's really a work. I think it's going to be interesting, though, because you get to see the intricacies of how the WWE runs, and I can't wait to watch that show. A lot of people in the wrestling business, wrestlers, managers, you know, promoters, they're not happy about the new change that's happening where WWE is going to be pretty much outing themselves on Netflix and talking about this is how they do the show. At the end of the day, you need to understand this, that pro wrestling is popular right now. It's something that could have never worked 10 years ago. It's something that definitely couldn't have worked 30 years ago. But today in 2025, it works. And that's part of the reason why pro wrestling just feels different these days. We're getting something to where we are going to be able to see behind the scenes exactly how the WWE works. You're probably going to see the catering. You're probably going to see when they're sitting in the room with the long tables and figuring out how they're going to finish the retirement of John Cena. You're going to probably be able to see the gear, the outfits that we wear in the ring. We call it gear. So like where you're going to be able to see the gear makers in the back. You're going to probably be able to see the masseuses and all the other stuff that you don't get to see because you just watch Raw and SmackDown, or as a regular fan, the stuff you just get to see because you don't really know, you've never wrestled or stepped in a ring before. They might even show you how to put a ring together, right? Or watch them put together the ring. You may have thought that a pro wrestling ring is just a trampoline. It's not a trampoline. It's far from a trampoline. Like, it's far from a Surly Peter Posturepedic mattress. It's not even close to that at all. What it is a canvas with some padding underneath, and then you got your wood underneath, and under your wood you have your steel beams, and that's what pretty much is the base where we take a bump at on the ring. You're going to be able to see that stuff. But back to the streaming as a whole. In the United States, because of TV rights and stuff like that, the only reason I still keep my cable subscription, my subscription for Sling, right? Sling TV, that's what I watch because it's the cheapest. The only reason I keep it is because I have to watch SmackDown. I got to know what's going on. I have to know what's going on. Do you use WWE Vault at all? Let me know whether you're in the comments live or on demand. You're watching it later on. Let me know. The question that I had for myself, are fans more loyal to WWE or the era that they grew up with? Now, that's going to be one hell of a question that I'm throwing at you right now. The reason why, in my opinion, let me give you my opinion. My loyalty is to the WWE because of where I grew up. I grew up in New York, in the Bronx. And when I first started watching wrestling, the first thing I ever saw was WWE. At the time. The first video game I ever owned that was wrestling was WWF. I never owned the WCW game until later on. I remember turning on the TV and watching The Undertaker walking down the aisle, and I'm like, oh my God. But so I am loyal to WWE over the past almost 40 years. Let's call it 35 years because I wasn't watching wrestling out of the womb. My mother's not a wrestling fan. But over the past 35 years, when I've watched pro wrestling, it's always been WWE. It's the kind of wrestling that I know. I'm asking, are fans more loyal to WWE or the era that they grew up with? For me, the era that I grew up with, I was at the tail end of the new generation, and I was in there. I was all in. I was all in for the Attitude Era.
Yeah!
So that's the Attitude Era is the generation that grew with me. That's the generation that spoke to me as a teenage boy, trying to find my way and become a little bit more rebellious, I guess, against my parents, not out of trying to be rebellious, but that's just how it is. But I think 100%, WWE knows that nostalgia prints money. And the WWE Vault is how to keep OG fans close without spending a dime on new programming. It doesn't cost them anything but time to put it on YouTube. It costs them zero. I think it's a much better deal for them as well in the long run using WWE Vault, because they don't have to worry about NBCs too much. They don't have to worry about USA Network. They don't got to worry about Fox too much. They own their intellectual property, just like I own my intellectual property here, and I can go and I can do almost anything with it that I want. So by WWE putting it on YouTube, on their own YouTube channel, and circumventing everybody, they can do whatever they want. They put on live shows randomly. Yeah, that's what they're doing. And they're doing that. Meanwhile, AEW's making bold moves of their own, and they're doing it city by city. Look, I think All In Texas delivered big. And I am not an AEW fan. If I had to rank AEW, it'd be number 2 underneath WWE. And I think that TNA is slowly catching up to beat that, so it could be the number 2. But I watched AEW Dynamite, the one after All In last week, and I'm going to watch Dynamite again this week, and I enjoyed it last week. But AEW is trying out the residency-style touring. It might have been something they were doing before, but I think it's really big now, seeing that they're going to be in a place for a couple weeks. I think that's amazing. I think that's amazing for a pro wrestling fan. The reason why I think it's amazing for a pro wrestling fan is that, rightfully so, AEW got it together and figured out that they can't book these big arenas. As much as they might think that they are WWE, they're not WWE. They're AEW. And I think that's one of the things that makes them special. So because they're not AEW and they're still trying to put their flag in the sand, I think after 5 going on 6 years, AEW knows exactly who the heck they are. They know their identity. They know who their fan base is. People weren't filling out these big arenas. And that's not a slight to AEW at all. I think it's smart that they decided to go into smaller arenas so that it looks full, so that it looks different. It might look weird because you're so used to seeing big stadiums, but you know what? I don't think it's a problem at all. If AEW is not playing in big arenas anymore, they're playing in the smaller ones. If they're playing in the smaller ones, that means it could be a little bit more affordable. I'm not sure if they're doing, multi-pack tickets. Maybe, you know what, you're free every single Wednesday night. You can buy a couple week ticket to go see AEW in the same exact arena for the next month. I don't think it's bad at all. I don't really think that's a bad deal at all. WWE does it. You can buy one ticket. I bought one ticket. I paid one price. And I'm going to SummerSlam on Saturday, and I'm going to SummerSlam on Sunday, and that's regardless of my real job liking it or not. I think if AEW does the multi-ticketed thing where you can purchase for an entire month, imagine instead of sitting on your couch watching AEW by yourself, or let me be generous. It's 2025, right? That's what we're talking about, why pro wrestling feels different. In 2025, you're sitting at work or you're sitting, across the room while your kids play and you're watching AEW on your telephone, on your phone or tablet, computer, whatever. Imagine we could watch it with people that like it just as much as you do. And I think that's what makes the Tristan Law Show special, because I'm creating an environment to where all of you can come around, like-minded wrestling fans. You know what? Everybody has an opinion that is valid. I don't invalidate anybody's opinion. When I post on Threads at The Real Big Tris, or when I post on TikTok or I post videos here, I read every single comment. And I try to respond to 99.9% of the comments. Some of the comments are dumb. They are. But what I try to do is validate everybody. Because your comment is dumb doesn't mean that you should feel afraid to say it. Sometimes I have a dumb comment. People tell me all the time they hate my comments, right? And some people tell me all the time they love my comments. You know what? What's for me is not for you, and what's for you is not for me. But I still want to create a space to where you can come around and talk about pro wrestling freely and judgment-free. So now imagine you can purchase a ticket 2 weeks in a row, 3 weeks in a row, and you can watch AEW. I think that's in the arena while it's happening. I think that is genius. Fans might finally get that local feel, though. Like, if AEW starts going to towns that WWE is pretty much too big for, because I'm not going to lie, WWE is too big for Sheboygan, Wisconsin, for, Boise, Idaho. WWE is too big for those towns. I'm just being honest. But if AEW goes to those towns, I definitely see a lot of longevity within AEW and building up new fans. You know what? AEW doesn't come here. I mean, WWE doesn't come here, but AEW does. Let me see what this is because I love wrestling. That's why I tell people, no matter where you are in the world, find an indie pro wrestling company. Find an indie pro wrestling company. My good friend Cheyenne Ortiz, who was here with me on Sunday, talking about baby big Bill Goldberg, right? One of the things that he does is that he tells you independent shows that are happening. So if you know any independent shows that are happening, reach out to him. When you're done with this, go to the playlist section of my channel and go down to the bottom and click his name. You can watch his videos. You can comment, follow him on social media. And one of the things that you can do is you can let him know independent shows that are happening. So now if an independent show is coming to your town there, I bet within 50 miles of where you live, there's an independent pro wrestling show that you can go to, and it'll probably cost you less than $30 for you to go for one ticket. Let's go to the chat. We got Taylor Jones. What's going on, Taylor? Taylor says, TNA is slowly dying. Come on, man. TNA wrestlers don't even hold their main titles. They're just selling their soul. Thank you for the comment. It could feel that way. But let me tell you what happens. It's about getting more juice out of the more juice from the squeeze. And hands down, nobody can deny this, that WWE is the number one company in the world right now, right? We're not talking about what your personal preference is. We're talking about there's no pro wrestling company in America right now that can pack a football stadium like WWE. There's no pro wrestling company that is in bed with the number 2 streaming company in the world, Netflix. The number 1 is YouTube, believe it or not. Check it out. There's no company that's at Fanatics Fest with other sports stars with the lines going out the door. There is none. No. They're mixing up pro wrestling, WWE, football, hockey, all that all in one, and they put at the Jacob Javits Center 2 years in a row. So I think that I think that TNA is doing good right now. I think that TNA is not dying. If you were to ask me this a year ago, I'm like, yeah, when they're going to put that final nail in the coffin. But TNA is the company that should have been the number 2 company that AEW had no right to even be where they are now. Wait until Bound for Glory. Wait till the next pay-per-view and see what happens. Maybe WWE loses one of those titles, and the next pay-per-view after that, they lose the other one, and then they're on track. What if this goes into Survivor Series? WWE has popular wrestlers. They bring that name recognition from the casual fan because everybody knows WWE. Whenever you're explaining pro wrestling to somebody, you just have to say WWE, and they understand what's going on. So I think that by WWE and TNA working together and WWE having their main championships right now, it looks kind of crazy, but I say give it a little bit more time, and then we'll talk. TNA thinks that they're WWE, though. That's what Taylor Jones says. Or really AEW wanted to dream big, and even though they're smaller, it adds to the show, and it creates a more intimate feeling. You just got a Cardi B fan, girl. I'm just a Cardi B fan girl. You know what? Cardi B's from the Bronx. Allegedly, I'm from the Bronx. Never seen her before. They said she lived in my hood. Never seen her. I don't know anybody that knows her. But let me tell you this, though. I think years ago, doing maybe 2010, when Hogan was there, they changed the ring from the 6 sides to the 4-side ring. I could feel that's the time where you could feel that WWE was trying to be like AEW. Just trying to be like, TNA was trying to be like WWE. I could see that 100%. But now in this day and age, I think that TNA falls in between WWE and AEW. I think all the companies give something different. Hear me out. WWE gives you pure entertainment, and the way that they give you that pure entertainment, it's not really with the matches. It's everything in between the matches. They just use the matches to progress the story. AEW, they're giving you get an action-packed match that is always unlike the WWE in their style of storytelling in the ring, and that's what brings the fans to the yard. I think what brings the fans to the yard at AEW is, it's you're getting those people from Japan that you don't really know about because you watch WWE and you never heard about them a day in your life. I think that's what makes AEW different. But TNA's right in the middle. They give you a little bit of what WWE does, right? Because you got Joe Hendry, and they give you a little bit of what AEW does because they got really good wrestlers there as well, too. So, yeah, that's what I think. But I'm just a Cardi B fangirl. You know what? If it's up, and if it's up, then it's stuck. I think the AEW vibe is definitely growing on me. It's growing on me. I say it. I'll be honest. I'll be 100% honest. It's growing on me. I told one of my pals at work that, I watched it last week, and I'm gonna continue to try to watch it again this week. That's my promise. Not to me, but to you guys and to him. I'm gonna watch it. The vibe is growing, but is it still a step below the WWE? Yeah, you can't admit it. You can't deny it. You can't deny it at all. But TNA, what TNA is doing right now with their championship is that they walked through the forbidden door. And WWE, they held it open. You would have never thought in a billion years that WWE would be working with any other company. They had AJ Styles there. Jordan Grace, when she came over, you thought it was a one-off, but now she's in NXT. She signed the contract with NXT. From what I understand, there is not a no-compete clause to where they can't steal people. Legally, though, as long as there is no active contract, the different sides can talk to each other. So Jordan Grace is there. I definitely see Joe Hendry being there. Not going to lie. Joe Hendry just fits WWE so much. And the best part is, I'm going to say it, that Vince McMahon is not there. If Vince McMahon is there, I could see them just bastardizing, Joe Hendry or just watering him down. But Joe Hendry's got a lot of potential to him. The new guy, I think his name is Carlos Silva, the new guy in charge of TNA. He said, "Look, if they go to WWE, it's just a part of the business, right? It's just business. As long as nobody's taking advantage of anybody, like WWE going over there to poach them. I think that if WWE goes over there and poaches the wrestlers from TNA, I think it's only going to hurt the business in the long run. I think it gives WWE a good place to keep their finger on people that are in TNA, and it gives them the opportunity to put them in front of a WWE audience to see how they fare. You know what? Let's test this Joe Hendry guy just to see how he fares out. I don't know how he'll do, but let's just test him out just to see how he does. Oh my God, saying his name, he appears. And everybody loves Joe Hendry now. I think, though, that the crossovers that we used to dream about, they're probably going to be finally happening. I think that they need to move it up a little bit more into the main roster. The Raw and SmackDown. We got AJ Styles over at TNA, but AJ Styles is going to be wrestling Dominic Mysterio at SummerSlam. So what if somebody from what if Dominic went to TNA and got somebody to help him, and now AJ Styles has to go to TNA to right that wrong before he comes back and kicks the ass of Dominic Mysterio. If I'm not mistaken, I think the Intercontinental Championship is the only championship that AJ Styles has never held in the WWE. But I think it's big implications for talent, pro wrestlers, and fans. It gives everybody more of a place to work. You know, I would say that after Slammiversary, I'm going to be following TNA Impact a little bit more closely. I didn't purchase yet, but I downloaded the TNA Plus app, and there's a free way to watch Impact. I was like, you know what, I'm going to try, because I don't get it on regular TV. Maybe, you know, TNA Impact is going to get a national streaming deal pretty soon. I hope. But in 2025, this is different. If you are watching live right now, we got a poll right now, and in the poll, I am asking, is 2025 the best year for pro wrestling? Is it? Yes or no? Right now, we're 50-50. Half the group says yes, and half the group says no, so make sure you lock in that vote. Let me know what you think. This, though, is the kind of move that was unheard of in my day when I was watching wrestling. You know, WCW existed over there and WWE existed over there. We never really talked about each other, but we hinted at each other. But this here is the collaboration that we always needed in pro wrestling. You can't deny it that when WWE is doing well, it's a trickle-down effect and everybody else does well. From WWE, AEW, which is number 2, TNA, NWA, your local independent wrestling company, everybody does good when WWE does good. But if you're wondering who is shaping wrestling media today, it's not just the corporations. SiriusXM, they launched a pro wrestling channel, all pro wrestling 24/7. It pretty much is showing that there is a demand for pro wrestling. People want to talk about pro wrestling. People want to, like people like me, right? I don't watch SportsCenter because I don't really resonate with any of the sports that are on SportsCenter. But I always wish there was a place to where I can hear somebody talk about wrestling. I went and I created one of those spaces for me. But SiriusXM, they created that space as well too, you know, using Dave LaGreca, the host of Busted Open Radio. There are a bunch of other people on the internet, just like myself, that talk about pro wrestling, but it's all about what makes you unique. And what makes me unique is that I'm a semi-retired pro wrestler and I went to broadcasting school. So what I tried to do is I put on a broadcast quality show so that it feels like you're watching television. Because they say that the majority of people watch YouTube on their television. I want this to be something that you can digest on your television. The shift in pro wrestling is cultural. It's not just big media anymore. It's real voices like myself. Although I'm a semi-retired pro wrestler, I got a regular job. Unfortunately, this is not my regular job yet. It will be my regular job. And people tune into me. Right now, I got 490 subscribers. Shout out to all 490 people that decided to take a chance on me. To hit that subscribe button because they might have came on this channel by accident and said, you know, we like what that guy do. We want to check it out later on. That's a hand clap for you. People want to hear from people that are just like them. And I always say that, you know what? Even when I make it big, I'm still going to be the same OG. The same OG that I'm going to be. I'm going to be the guy that you can see in the street and say, hey, Tristan, or you can see me at SummerSlam and hey, Tristan, I watch your podcast. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You know, I buy your merchandise. You know, I whatever. You know, I go to your link tree and I click all the links. Whatever it is that you do. You know, I call the promo hotline. Maybe that's something, you know, that you're interested in. You know, that you want to find a place to where you can have your voice. 973-826-0101. You call the promo hotline anytime and let everybody know how you feel. Let them know how you feel. Fans are choosing authentic voices over polished corporate ones. When you look at, and I hate to make this about politics, but just walk with me just for a little bit. When it came down to the last presidential election here in the United States, I think from my research, a lot of people got their news from podcasters, from people on YouTube. That's where they got their news from. They weren't really flocking to CNN. They weren't really flocking to Fox News. What they're doing is that they're flocking to the podcast, and it's a new generation. It's that younger generation. It's that TikTok generation. They want to be able to get their news from somebody that looks like them, that sounds like them, that may like what they like. That's just what I think the nature of the beast is. Fans want people that sound just like them, that are not afraid to say all the crazy things. Like sometimes I see a theory online. Trina, thank you so much for watching. I am actually streaming on my TV. And how does it look on your TV live? That's one, and I'm getting goosebumps. I always get goosebumps when I feel the passion coming through. I make it because I want you to be able to kick back, put your feet up, turn up the volume, walk around, and just listen to my voice. That's what I'm creating here. This is what I want. I want you to see me as the authentic voice. I give you a way to be a part of the show. If you want to go be a part of somebody else's show, it might be hard for you to be a part of somebody else's show. They might keep you in the chat. You don't have people like me that give you the promo hotline, 973-826-0101, to where you can talk about anything pro wrestling related. Whether you love it or you hate it, talk about it. I let you be a part of the show because I feel that you're important. Those are one of the things that are making the authentic voices, the podcasters, the YouTubers, everybody, the Forbidden Door with AEW and everybody else, the Forbidden Door between TNA and WWE, WWE filling out football stadiums. That's what's making pro wrestling special in 2025. That is what's making pro wrestling different. Wake up. Wake up. It's the best time. Again, I'm going to say it again. It's the best time for you to be a pro wrestling fan.
Thank you.
I think that fans, people that just like pro wrestling, they trust podcasters more than traditional media. If they had a pro wrestling show on ESPN, would you watch? Maybe. Maybe not. But you know what? You got a guy, there's no barrier of entry, and let me just not talk about me. You got a bunch of people where the barrier of entry is really low. All you got to do is be like Trina and turn on your television and watch me live. I normally have a live schedule where I normally go live at certain times, but like I said, I'm a regular guy. I got a job. And that job right now is changing my schedule. Once my schedule gets back to normal, golly, believe me, I might even do 3 times a week. SummerSlam, PLEs, I try to cover all the big WWE PLEs. That's what I do. You trust, I know I trust podcasts, YouTubers, more than traditional media, but don't let nobody okie doke you and make you believe things that are not true. Look, Google things. I am not perfect. I don't have a professional fact checker that goes ahead and checks all my facts. Before I do a show, to be honest with you, it might take me from start to finish to produce this. It might take me 5 to 8 hours to produce a show. That may include clipping videos or putting together audio or sourcing photos or, bulleting my talking points and stuff like that. Like I have talking points, so I'm not just rambling for the time being that I'm here. No, this is structured. This is something that's put together. I'm a regular guy who was a pro wrestler, and I'll probably go back one more time for one more run, and then I'm done. I'll be 40 at the end of August. I'm going to go back for one more run, and this is what I'm going to do. I'm building a media company, a media company where we're just going to talk about personal. It's not going to be just me. I promise you. I want like-minded people on there to bring what makes them special to the Tristan Law Show. And you know what? Here's your own show. Come do it here. And I'm doing it for you. Trina says it looks awesome, dude.
Thank you.
That's my new drop. I put that in today. we're not reading scripts from, a producer. I am the producer. I'm the producer, I'm the host, I'm the social media manager. Everything you see that comes about it, I'm the graphic designer. Anything you see that comes about the Tristan Law Show, it's me. It's me. And I'm not reading scripts. I got my bullet points right here. Talk about this, talk about that, talk about this, talk about that. But I'm not reading a script word for word. Sometimes when you see me looking down, I'm looking to make sure we're still on the internet. I'm checking my volume levels. I'm checking the chat. I'm checking to make sure that the lights are working, that everything is going on. There's a lot happening right here in front of me just for you to see this one angle right now. I create a space for wrestling fans to feel seen. Sometimes they get called a mark. They call wrestling fans marks. I don't like calling wrestling fans marks, right? Because if you ask me, the biggest marks are the people that are in the ring that paid the money to go into the ring to learn how to do it. So if anything, I'm more of a mark than you are. I just walk around and pretend like I'm not one because I'm not a mark. No, I'm a mark. I like pro wrestling. I love pro wrestling. And I probably love pro wrestling more than you because I paid money to go learn how to do it. I'll be honest. I'll be 100% honest. So what I want to do is create a space for you to feel seen, for you to feel heard, for you to feel valued. But you know what? I'm not done yet. We're almost home. What's next for wrestling consumption? And are we already doing too much? That's a question for you. Question for you. WWE's global streaming reach is up. Everybody in the world at one time can watch Raw, SmackDown at the same exact time. If you're watching wrestling, you know that your friend in Japan is watching it at the same time. You know that if your friend in Japan is watching wrestling at the same time, if they can get Wi-Fi in Antarctica, they can watch Raw at the same exact time, SmackDown at the same exact time. I think that is a testament to how big pro wrestling is. It gives pro wrestling to trend online. It gives WWE the ability to trend online because you know what? Every single continent is talking about, excluding Antarctica. I don't think they're down there watching wrestling. They got work to do. But I think that all the continents are watching pro wrestling at the same time. It's just going to make it trend. But you know what? Some U.S. fans are still frustrated because you know what? The storylines are not going the way that they want. And we are getting the short end of the stick when it comes to streaming. We are getting the short end of the stick when it comes to streaming. Streaming doesn't favor us in the United States. But that's what I'm telling you. To go get WWE Vault. That's what you want. You want WWE Vault. 2-night events like WrestleMania and SummerSlam, I think they're here to stay. They're here to stay. A lot of people are saying that it's expensive, right? I saw that tickets for SummerSlam are like $18,000. Let me tell you something. I paid $800 for my tickets. I bought the tickets on the pre-sale when it came out early. When you know that WWE is coming to your town, come buy your tickets early. When you're buying your tickets after the hand, you're buying them from somebody that bought maybe a row of tickets and they're just trying to sell them. So they got to make some kind of money off of it. I'm not mad at them. That's just the game. That's just the game. So if you want to not spend $18,000 for your tickets, what you should do is what I would recommend is start saving up. If you know that WWE comes to your town or close by every couple times, you save your money. We knew that SummerSlam was going to be in MetLife for a while. Once I learned that MetLife was going to be getting SummerSlam, I decided to not go to WrestleMania this year. Yeah, I save my money. I don't have to pay for plane fare. I don't have to get a hotel if I don't want to. Me and my homeboy are going to be sleeping right here. He's going to sleep on the couch, and I'm going to sleep on my big old bed. And then we're going to get up and go to SummerSlam, come back to the same exact thing, and go again. That's what we're going to do. Wrestling now spans Netflix, YouTube, regular television, social media, and more. Pro wrestling is not just a sport anymore. It's a multiverse. If I could change one thing, where's my magic wand? If I could change one thing about how pro wrestling is delivered to fans, one thing I would change, make all of your programming first run streaming live, like I do here in the Tristan Law Show, so I can cancel my cable bill. They should no longer be looking to get in bed with USA Network. Nah, bump that. Bump that. I just want to stream. I want to reduce my cable, but you heard that? Peacock is going up now? Peacock is going up.
Yeah!
So us here in America, we're going to be getting the short end of the stick again. Put it all on Netflix. That $9.99 plan is not going to be like $17. And I'm thinking, you know what? I might just cancel it. I don't think that I could fit that extra money in my budget. Like I told you, I'm just a regular guy. If you cancel it, though, listen to me. The only thing that you watch right now on Peacock, it's probably just wrestling. But WWE has thought outside the box again. You're now going to be able to go to your local movie theater using Fandango, not the wrestler, using Fandango. And you're going to be able to buy a ticket and watch pro wrestling in a movie theater with other like-minded fans. And I'm hoping that it's cheaper than the $16 that Peacock wants. Maybe WWE knew that Peacock was raising the price, and because of the current economic climate that we live in, most people might not be able to afford that extra, $6.99 a month? $7 a month? So you know what? Instead of just alienating them and having them go to AEW, let's give them a place to where they can watch. And you know what? The movie theaters benefit as well, too. Are two-night PLEs overkill? I think right now, I feel like WWE is kind of biting off a little bit more that they can chew. And it feels like we're just running from PLE to PLE. Like there's no like breather time. There's no like jog. We're just sprinting to the next PLE. 2 weeks ago was Evolution. And when SummerSlam comes out, 3 weeks before it's going to be Evolution. And it was Evolution and Saturday Night's Main Event. Even though Saturday Night's Main Event is on the PLE, I'm still counting that. 3 weeks before that was, what was that, Money in the Bank or whatever it was? So it's like, yo, come on, can we just get a breather? Then after that, they're going to go to Clash in Paris at the end of August? So it just feels like everything is just happening a little bit too quickly with the WWE for right now. I think if it slows down, that if they don't make it feel rushed and they take their time telling the stories, they're not going to burn fans out because like, oh my God, another PLE again, another PLE. I think I almost like the fact of where we were before back in the day to where it would be like, oh wow, I totally forgot there was a PLE coming on because they weren't so often. Now you can set your watch to it. 3 weeks later, Netflix worldwide and Peacock only in America because America sucks because of that. Another PLE. But this isn't a boom. This is a blueprint. Let me take this home for you. Pro wrestling's explosion right now, but it's more than dollars. It's all about access. It's about creativity and freedom. You can watch wrestling almost anywhere on your phone. You got people like me that are creating pro wrestling content. You got WWE Vault creating pro wrestling content. Right before I signed on here, I saw that TNA has a live stream for Impact Wrestling Classic Moments on their channel, which I'm probably going to go check out. You know, AEW is on YouTube. You can stream them on Max, HBO Max. WWE's on Netflix. You know, NWA's going to Tubi. No, they're going to Roku. They're going to go to Roku. It's just that the access to pro wrestling in 2025 is so much better. Think about it. If you grew up doing a tape trading time before cable TV time, before I had cable TV, I only knew about WWE because I was a New York guy. I'm a New York guy. It took for me to get cable TV to go, oh wow, there's more wrestling in the world? Didn't know. The creativity, you got so many creative minds right now making pro wrestling that is catering to certain fans. WWE got their own, AEW got their own, NWA got their own, TNA got their own. Everybody got their own little creative minds, and they're all feeding somebody differently. And I think as long as they all continue to feed somebody differently, it's going to be good because it caters to certain fans. But if you kind of like the Big Mac but you like McDonald's fries, you know what? You go get the Big Mac, the McDonald's fries, but you want that drink. You want that Code Red. Go to Taco Bell for it. It's all about giving the fans an option here. And the freedom is that you can watch pro wrestling however you like. I'm not telling people to only watch WWE because I'd be wrong for that. I'm not telling you to only watch AEW because I'd be wrong for that. I'm not telling you not to watch anything. I'm telling you to watch everything here and then come together and then join this community. Call the pro wrestling hotline. Call the promo hotline. 973-826-0101. Talk about what you watch. I give you direct access to me. That's the freedom. You have direct access to me. 973-826-0101. It rings to my phone. You can email me at tristanlawshowmedia.com. Email me. You have access to me. That's where your freedom comes in. Freedom for the wrestlers. There's more places for them to work. But let's not talk about only the wrestlers at that mainstream level. Let's talk about the independent wrestlers. It gives them more options for them to work. Pro wrestling is hot right now in 2025. I always said I wish I was alive or old enough to wrestle during the Attitude Era. But you know what? I'm so glad that I'm alive in this era now because I have the ability to talk about pro wrestling. Fans, we are getting more choice than ever when it comes to pro wrestling. Let me see if I can count this right. We got Raw on Mondays. We got NXT on Tuesdays. We got AEW on Wednesdays. We got TNA on Thursdays. We got SmackDown on Fridays. We have Collision on Saturdays. And on the occasional Saturday or Sunday, we'll catch a PLE from somebody there. If you want to watch wrestling every single day of the week, you can. And that's only the mainstream stuff that I named. I watch Reality of Wrestling on YouTube. Sometimes I watch MLW when I have a little bit of time. I watch a lot of wrestling. And I'm encouraging you, if you love this, go out there and seek what you like. There's so much out there. If you ever like, yo, you know what? I want an indie company to go check out. I will find you an independent company in your area within a 50-mile radius. Just reach out to me. TristanLawShowMedia@gmail.com. Just reach out to me. Content creators and wrestlers alike, we are all shaping the next era. We are shaping the next era of pro wrestling. I feel that when my son becomes an adult, there might be this huge WWE right now has, with their podcasts, they have, known names that are doing it. Known names, Sam Roberts, Undertaker, Stephanie McMahon, Cody Rhodes. But when my son grows up, I think there's going to be an era of where the people talking about wrestling are just the regular fans. There are so many talented content creators out there that create their own content, good content at that as well, that are going to be shaping the entire world of what wrestling is going to be. Latch on to a content creator that you like. If it's me, it's me. If it's not, if somebody else, my friend Cheyenne, Cheyenne the Voice, or my friend Dave from Dave Knows Wrestling, find somebody that you like. Somebody out there has your voice. I feel like companies are finally seeing pro wrestling fans as fans and not just marks. Kind of, because, WWE tickets are still expensive and stuff like that, but I feel like they're finally seeing the fans as fans. We're not just marks. We're not just bodies to fill up the building. We're people that want to be there. We want to cheer for who we love. And what we want to do is we want to boo those who we hate. In the next 5 years, it'll be 2030. What I hope for pro wrestling is that there is a whole entire solid network of people that talk about pro wrestling on YouTube. YouTube is where it's at. Listen when I tell you, YouTube is where it's at. I'm not just saying that because I'm here. A lot of people like me spend a lot of time on YouTube. And in the next 5 years, I see that you're going to be finding more content creators that may be inspired by people like me. That may say, hey, look, Tris, how do you do it? You know what? I hope to have a podcast network in the next 5 years on YouTube to where we can come and I'll give you your own day and time slot that you can talk about it. That's down the line. But in the meantime, connect with me and work on building your product. In the next 5 years, I see AEW going back to bigger arenas, and I see TNA filling out those smaller arenas. I don't want it to be too much competition at the top because I don't want AEW, TNA, and WWE to start eating each other alive. No. I want them to all be able to thrive. And as long as they still play to their audience and do what brings their fans to the dance, I think it's going to work. Look, I've said it before. I say it all the time doing my intro. Trista Law, semi-retired pro wrestler and your host. I may be retired, but this version right now, Pro Wrestling 2025, makes me want to go to that back room, get the boots, and lace them up again. Thank you so much for joining me today on the Trista Law Show. When I get to 500 subscribers, we are going to do a special show. I'm going to have guests. We're going to have such a good time. So what I want you to do is like, share, and subscribe. Don't make me your dirty secret. This is the Trista Law Show. Thank you so much for joining me. I can't wait to see you again. Don't forget to call the promo hotline 973-826-0101. And I'll see you next time.
Flashing red lights, driving